Hi, this is Jason, and this is my daily vlog called Living with CMT. I hope you enjoy. Good Sunday, folks. Good afternoon. It's 4:30. Yesterday would have been 5:30, but obviously clocks went back. Yeah, hopefully you remember to put your clocks back. If you haven't by now, you've got serious problems. Anyway, quiet night last night after I'd finished doing my video. I went upstairs and watched a couple of movies. I ended up watching Child's Play 2 and Child's Play 3, and I can honestly say I don't think I've seen Child's Play 2 before. Child's Play 3 I recognised straight away, but Child's Play 2 I didn't. I never even realised that Jenny Agutter was in it. I think I'd have remembered if I'd have remembered Jenny Agutter was in it. I didn't even know that. I looked at the list of the Chucky films, so I've watched 3. I think I've still got another 4 to go. So that'll give me something to watch in the next few nights coming up. Sorry about that, Just. I don't know what keeps happening with my camera. I don't know whether my camera's going, whether it's getting a bit dodgy or not. I don't know. Yeah, not done a lot today. It's been absolutely freezing cold again. Another chill day. It's been one of those days where all I've wanted to do is curl up under a blanket and watch football. So I have. I had a couple of likes on my post last night for the rave and the rant I had, because some things really get to me, and if they get to me, this is a perfect platform for me to voice my opinion. I know I've got a bit of a beard and tash again. That's going today, that is, mate. That's going. I've got to be clean shaved, ready for the 1st of November, and can you believe that's only a few days ago? A few days to go, sorry. Don't know what I'm on about. Yeah, I hope you're all well on this Sunday. It was a bit of a bad day yesterday, actually. Not for me personally, but the amount of things that happened yesterday that were really, really bad. First of all, there was the synagogue shooting in America, which, if I'm not mistaken, a psycho killed 11 people. And also yesterday, after watching the Leicester-West Ham game, which was a very entertaining game of football, a helicopter took off from Leicester with the owner of Leicester City in it, and it's crashed. And it looks like it's killed everybody on board. So that was a big, massive shock. And on the same day, Glenn Hoddle, it was his 61st birthday, the ex-England manager, footballer, player, whatever, it was his 61st birthday, and while doing commentary, while being a pundit on one of the channels, he had a heart attack on his 61st birthday. The good news in that situation is he is doing okay, he's responding well to treatment, he's still in critical condition, but I'm glad to hear, he's making positive signs, so that's something at least. But I couldn't understand yesterday. I don't know what was going on. It was like disaster after disaster after disaster. I don't think nothing much brilliant happened yesterday in that respect. It was all bad news. I know we're coming up to Halloween, but that takes you to bed. I have started writing my story. I've started writing my story called Lucky You. And it isn't a horror story, because I need more time to write a decent horror. It's more a thinking story. Makes you think, makes you wonder. And it's called Lucky You. And I'll be reading out the first page or so at the end of my day's video. Because I'm not done for now. I mean, I'm really, like I say, with it only being 10 to 5, this is just a quick video to tell you that, I'm all right, everything's going good. And I'll do some more a bit later. Okay, so you all take care for now. And I'll speak to you in about, when you're watching this, it'll be in about 30 seconds, but it'll be a bit longer than that. Bye for now. Hello again. I know it's been to you it's only been a couple of minutes, but to me it's been a few hours. I've just spent the evening watching quite a bit of football, and also speaking to my nephew, Oliver, who was 19 yesterday. I can't believe that, because I still remember when he was born. Seems like yesterday. Anyway, yeah, he had a good birthday and that, and it was just something he was talking to me about we were on about swearing. Now, I'm quite bad for swearing. I do swear quite a lot, which I know I shouldn't, but I do. I swear when I'm frustrated or angry or agitated. But certain words I'll use, like I'll use the F word, I'll use the B word, but a word that I won't use is the C word. I won't use it because I just find it very, very offensive and very derogatory. Now, we had a joke about it. He says to me, he said, well, how come is it you'll use the terms for a male genitalia, like, calling somebody a cock or something stupid like that, right? But And you'll use the B word, you know, bollocks, that kind of thing. But you won't use the C word. I said, well, I don't know. I said, I just always seen it as when people use it, it's usually really, really used offensively. You know, I mean, I occasionally come out with it and then try and bite my tongue after I've said it because I don't like using the word. And yet, I don't know why. I don't know what it is about that particular word. I mean, he calls it the C-bomb for some strange reason. I don't know. Maybe it's just a modern thing that I don't know. But I just cannot use that word. I can't put it in sentences with people or nothing. Because the minute I say it, I just feel really, really disgusting. I feel really bad and horrible, like somebody who's, you know, really insulted somebody. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Maybe most people do use that word. Or maybe most people find it offensive. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what people think, actually, whether it's just me being prudish. I don't know. Right, you'll have to excuse me reading this out. This is the first part of my short story I wrote called Lucky You. So, bear with me. I've not done this. I've not read out a story before online. Holy shit, John, you've seen this? Mac held up the dirty, crumpled paper slowly to avoid it blowing out of his grubby hands. The wind had started picking up a few minutes ago, and the alleyway where he slept was like a wind tunnel during the winter. It was early November, so the cold weather was really beginning to set in. His cold fingers were stretched to their limits as they sought purchase on the billowing pages that threatened to leave him grasping at fresh air. John stopped blowing on his cold hands and looked up at the sky. The clouds had formed, and the threat of rain, or even hail, was an ever-present reality. He blew once more on his hands to give him at least a little more warmth and got to his feet. In his youth, he'd been quite muscular and athletic, but now, at the age of 32, his figure, and with what life had thrown at him, he felt out of shape. In fact, who was he kidding? He was out. And he was out of shape, and he knew it. Living on the streets for the last 7 years had reduced him to what he was today, a bearded tramp. Nothing more, nothing less. He occasionally found the odd discarded razor or two in the rubbish he frequently rummaged through, but things had been bad lately, and he had not shaved for almost 3 weeks. A ray of sun flicked through the banks of clouds and illuminated part of the alley. There were 7 of them there that he could see, 7 individuals that all looked different, all acted different, all had different reasons for being there, and yet they were all the same, as they tried in vain to create enough heat to keep them going a little while longer. At least until the day had properly begun, and they shuffled away to forage and beg for whatever they could find. He shuffled down the alley to the next cardboard shelter. Mac had been lucky, and something in his past must have stuck with him, because unlike most of the shelters, his was quite sturdy, and he'd even tacked a couple of dirty pictures to the walls to make it look homely. John settled himself down and faced Mac. Mac was at least 20 years older than John, but they'd been friends for a few years since John had stopped some of the local kids from beating on him. They'd cornered him in an alley and were taking turns to shout abuse at him and throw stones or whatever was available when John had wandered into the alley. At that time he'd still had his athletic figure, and the kids, realising that he was a different proposition, had legged it. At first Mac had been reluctant to thank him for what he'd done, a pride thing, but eventually, after a few minutes of feeling relaxed in each other's company, he'd thanked him, and they'd been friends ever since. No one really made friends on the street, because everyone knew that most of the people there would stab you in the back for a couple of free meals. It was harsh, but it was survival, it was reality, and it was something you got used to if you wanted to survive sleeping rough. They'd never told each other the background stories, and neither of them had ever asked. A man's past was his affair, and if he wanted to tell you, he would. If not, so be it. Sometimes John tried to guess what sort of past Mac might have endured, but often fell short and gave up. All he knew was that Mac was another man on the street, and he had a thick Scottish accent that often made him hard to understand, particularly when he'd managed to acquire a dram or two of whisky. Then you needed an interpreter, and often John would just sit and nod where he felt it appropriate. The paper was waved in his face, and he tried to grasp it in his cold and numb fingers. It almost escaped, but he clung to it like life. I tell you that some people are meant to be lucky and others are not meant for shit. John was lucky, as it had also been a few weeks since Mac had managed to find himself someone willing to share their alleyway bottles, and so he was coherent to understand. The paper showed a picture of a woman topless and wearing a fake smile that was straight off the television. Why is she lucky? Matt peered over and grabbed the paper from him in his dirt-streaked fingers and laughed. "No, you idiot, the next page, eh?" He retook the paper and turned the page to see a headline story. "Homeless man becomes millionaire." Below the headline was a story about a man from Manchester who had spent almost 20 years on the street, only to find out that his real parents had been rich. Not only rich, but filthy rich. The woman had conceived when they were poor and penniless. Not being able to afford to bring up the baby, she had left it on the doorstep of a local charity home. 9 years later, the couple had won the jackpot on the football pools and had scooped almost $2 million. Through shrewd investing and luck, they had managed to accumulate about $10 million in total. And when they both died in a car crash while holidaying in Italy, the documents had come to light about their only child. He'd been found after a year-long search. His name was Michael Cross, of no fixed abode, and he went from penniless to a millionaire in a matter of days. There were 3 accompanying photos, one of the husband and wife together in front of a large sprawling house, one of a straggly-haired bearded man in a scruffy dirty clothes, and another one of the same man in a 3-piece suit, clean-shaven, tidy hair, and wearing a big smile. Underneath, it went on to tell how happy he was and how he had always wanted to find out who his real parents were, etc., etc. John read the article several times, and the more he read it, the more his emotions changed. He went from shock at the parents getting killed in the car crash, amazement at the chances of the events unfolding, disbelief at the article and the situation, and utter rage and jealousy at what a lucky bastard this man was and what he had done to deserve that kind of fortune. By the time he'd finished, without knowing it, he held the paper so hard in his grasp that he had almost crushed it into a ball. "Easy, lad, I've not finished that yet." He heard the words, but it was as if they were miles away, and only coming to him in an echo. His rage was boiling, and it took all his control not to rip the paper in two and shove it down the throat of the patronising voices that were in his head. "Couldn't be you. You're a loser. Don't know why you bother." The voices taunted him, and he shouted out, "Just leave me the fuck alone!" I will continue tomorrow. If you're enjoying the videos I'm doing and you want to see more, you can subscribe by clicking the link there. And if you want to see my exciting day from yesterday, you can click up there. Thank you again for taking the time to watch my videos. Bye for now.